recording the cloud and exit full screen. Okay, hang on a second. Okay. All ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So add a title. What should we call it?
Simple Healing with Dorothy McGuinness.
Hang on a second. Okay. Okay. And we should be live, I think. We'll double check here.
Does it?
It says it's live. Okay, perfect. Well, welcome everybody. I think we are live here on Facebook tonight on a warm, almost hot, sweltering Arizona evening. I think it's 110 degrees today, or 115 or something crazy. Anyway, I'm really excited to be with you tonight, because tonight we're going to learn about simple healing, about getting into touch with ourselves, getting in, seeing what we really can do. And to help me out with that, I have Dorothy here. Hi, Dorothy.
Hi.
Glad you could be with us. And
I'm happy to be here.
Take your time out. So let me start by just giving viewers a little bit about myself and then you will be able to introduce yourself after I give my introduction. But I'm Elsa Johnson. I'm a mindset and clarity coach. Really what I do is I help you get out of your own way and live the life that you want to live very authentically from your heart, and making sure that all these amazing dreams you have, that you really can connect with them, bring them out to the world, and show up fully and authentically, as I said. But tonight is not about me, it's about Dorothy and all the amazing thing that Dorothy does. So I will read the introduction so I don't get it wrong, so listen to me here. Dorothy's main goal is to return people to happy, healthy lifestyles. Who wouldn't want that? Where they can enjoy activities and feel worthwhile. Amen. She has been a physical therapist for over 30 years with a unique set of experiences that allow her to assess her patients with a global perspective. You know, it's not always one place that's wrong, it usually comes from somewhere else, and I'm sure she will explain more to us about that. She believes in treating the body and spirit and specializes in pain relief, including back, neck, headaches, TMJ, sciatica, sorry for that, as well as stress release. Dorothy believes in treating the whole person to further their lives and give them the opportunity to fully live whatever they desire, be fully participating in whatever they desire. So her motto is do everything that makes you feel better, it feel better, and nothing that makes it worse or you feel worse. So Dorothy, with that, do you want to add anything to that?
Well, I just really like to help the individual get to their goals. So we want to make sure that they're not judging themselves from age or what they haven't been able to do lately. Most people can improve, can get back to the things they love, and really have a productive and happy life. And that's what I'm all about.
Oh, that's fantastic. So in your introduction that you provided for me, you said you had a unique set of experiences. Do you mind telling whoever is listening in now or later to let them know what those unique experiences are?
Right. Well, for some reason, I've always been interested in global therapies. I always felt that there's different treatments from all around the world that help us. And if it's a natural way of healing, why don't we all understand that? So in college, I actually did my research paper on manual pressure on acupuncture points to release tension headaches. And we used a biofeedback machine. It worked. It was great. And then right out of school, I took a job in Saudi Arabia. So not only was I working there with the local people as my clients, but we had other therapists, nurses, doctors from all over the world. So I was able to learn from the Australian nurses what treatments they use when treating a burn patient. And I was able to learn from Filipino staff what they do there. So it was, like 2 years of intensive learning, even more so than what I got in PT school.
Fantastic. It must have been quite a unique experience.
It was, yes, it was very unique, both medically and socially.
What was your biggest challenge during that time?
Well, I think the biggest challenge was actually being a woman, because that was in the 80s. Back then, it was quite separate. We couldn't drive. We had to have, everything covered when we were in town. And the second biggest thing was language, but I learned that pretty quickly. So we did have some interpreters, but I also picked up the language and was able to speak with them in Arabic.
And you said that you treated the locals as well as expats, or everybody?
Right. Well, any expat that actually worked for the hospital and needed therapy was treated, but we were in a hospital that was supported by the Saudi military. So most of our people were from the local city we were in or the military.
That is fantastic. So with those type of therapies, where did you add on other therapies? Because I know people think physical therapy, they think one thing. I know you offer so much more.
Right. Well, I've been studying medical Qigong, which is Chinese natural healing, for about over 20 years. So that includes exercises like Qigong or Tai Chi type exercises. It includes different foods that you eat to feel better, positions. They take into seasons. So you do different things depending on the season. So that's a whole nother way. Plus I've taken a lot of classes after physical therapy school, which are somato-emotional release, craniosacral therapy, visceral manipulation. So a lot of gentle touch techniques that help blend body and mind together. So you can really feel what's going on in your body better. And it also helps release emotional stress that we build up. So there's a total relationship between our emotional status and our physical status. So I'm able to approach it from both areas.
Yeah, which I was the recipient of. I tried one of those, and it's quite amazing if you never tried it before. You typically think of a massage, and the massage therapist is there working on you, but that gentle touch, and you can still feel the energy, moving throughout your body. So it is quite an amazing experience. And if you never tried it, I highly encourage you to go visit Dorothy and have your own taste of it. It's
right. Especially now with, the situation in the world, most people are stressed more than normal. So it can help really settle people down a lot.
Oh, absolutely. The funny thing was, after my session, I was exhausted. I went home and I was like, holy cow, I could physically, and I thought I hadn't done anything, but my body felt physically very exhausted. It was quite a unique experience. So
well, one of that happens sometimes. It doesn't happen all the time. Sometimes people feel lots of energy, but the exhaustion usually means that you tapped into your tension and you're releasing it finally. So you've kind of lowered that cortisol level, so you're not firing your adrenals all the time, and then all of a sudden your body can tell that it needs the rest, and it lets you sleep better. So you're just more in touch with what you actually need.
Oh, I can imagine. So with that, with all these global healings and the physical, the more traditional Western therapy, so what really makes you take that jump? Because I'm sure not everybody who gets out of your physical therapy school, said, oh, I'm going to Saudi Arabia.
Right. I think I really like adventure. Opportunity came up and I thought it was a great way to learn what other people use and to see the world. And so that's what I did.
Fantastic. Have you practiced in other countries outside the US and Saudi Arabia?
No, just those two.
Yeah. And the more Asian type healing you have done through teachers and masters here in the US then?
Right. I've been instructed with a Grand Master, Master Hong Lu. He's from China. He was in fact in charge of all the Qigong practitioners in China for a while, and he felt the Western world needed to learn it. So I've been in very good hands with him. He's quite exceptional. So almost magical.
I'm sharing his talents with us. That's for sure. That's for sure. So how would you say you as a person, and of course with this combination, but what really truly makes you stand out as a therapist for somebody?
Well, right. Well, certainly it's the vast experience that I've got in a lot of different areas. It allows me to approach each individual person and determine, what they would need and maybe what they would respond better to. So I'm not limited to just Western or just Eastern. And I can also talk to them. I always want to know the individual's goals. And sometimes, they'll come thinking they want mostly traditional Western medicine, but then they realize that they can also benefit from a very light touch. I've had some people, for example, I had a woman that was a frozen shoulder, and she just couldn't get better with most traditional therapists because they hurt her too badly, and she couldn't tolerate it. So I just did the cranial sacral and very, very slow range of motion, and she got better every single time she came in. So, it's, even with something such a Western diagnosis, you can still cross depending on what the individual needs. And also I have an advantage because all my treatments are an hour. It's one-on-one, it's just me. I'm not using an assistant. So they have the entire hour to ask me questions, for me to guide them. And that seems to help people get better quicker because they understand what they need to a more extent.
Yeah, and I can absolutely see that. You were mentioning before about how emotions can manifest itself in the physical pain, and that's one of the things that I see in my coaching. I use a lot of visualization for my clients in coaching, and it's almost sometimes when you have a mental emotion, right? There's almost always a physical reaction to it, like the knot in the stomach when you get, really upset about something, or you get frightened, or you get scared for your children, you have those physical reactions. And I can see that if you are in a constant situation of stress, that really gets sort of locked up in the body too.
Right. And there's a lot of research now finding that we can release old stress that caused an elevation in the fight or flight syndrome. And you've been, essentially, I say, cocooning it inside your body all these years, not even understanding you're doing it. So some people feel like they're over that. It happened 20 years ago, but truly they could still be storing that tension in their body, and it could be giving them back pain or ankle pain. So, and it goes both ways. So it's one of my pet peeves to hear that people say their doctor says it's in their head, because our body is not separated from our brain. And it doesn't matter where it started, whether it was physical that started it or where it was emotional that started it, it's still us. It's still our problem, our thing that we have to, our challenge that we want to get better. So that's another area that I'm different than a lot of therapists, because I never discount their emotional response to their pain or their life. So I want to treat the whole person.
Well, I think, something was coming to me, right? I'm guided a lot by my intuition in my coaching. And my intuition was really when you were saying, when a doctor says it's all in your head, and it's like, yes, it is. It's
Exactly.
head, and just sort of have that as a pushback, because that it's in our head, it means it's on our minds, it means that it's something important to us. So don't like, don't just like ignore that fact. So,
Right. Well, and then besides the physician saying something like that, we're our biggest critics. And
Mhm.
so we get a thought in our own head that we don't think something can get better, or we think we have pain because we're older. And we're actually just putting all this judgment without getting any type of assessment by a professional.
Mhm.
When, I have people that have told me, I had a woman that was selling me insurance, and she's like, "Oh, you're a physical therapist. Oh, well, I should have met you 10 years ago. I've had pain for 10 years and I can't let go of it now." And she was like 50. And I'm like, "No, we can probably get rid of it now." And she said, "But it's been 10 years." And I said, "It doesn't matter. Have you done anything about it?" And she really had never even been assessed. I
Yeah.
think she went someplace for a couple visits and it didn't help. So anyway, I actually talked her into being a client, and within like 3 weeks, she was so much better. She could hardly believe it. And part of it was just her preconceived notion that she'd had it too long, or
Mhm.
that she was too old,
Yeah.
and not even taking the chance of having an evaluation. I mean, there's a lot of value. I mean, even if somebody wanted to come to me one time and have their physical body evaluated, their stress level evaluated, I could do that and give them a program they could follow through at home that would make them better. Anything. And that's, we talked about my motto. It's where
Yeah.
it came up. I'd have people come in and I would have taught them something and I'd say, "Well, did you do it?" "No." Or I'd have somebody come in and say, "I'm worse." And we'd chat. I actually had a gentleman who had back pain that kind of went up and down, but he really wasn't sticking to his program very well. And he came in and he was all upset. He goes, "This isn't working. I'm going to stop." And we went over his day-to-day stuff. And it turns out that he actually, with a neighbor, lifted his camper off of his pickup truck. And I said, "What? Why? Why'd you do that?" Well, he goes, "Well, I do it every time this year." And I went, "But you have a bad back. You didn't think that would irritate it?" So it's like we stop thinking, we don't even put two and two together. So we have to understand, if you do anything that makes it worse, it's gonna be worse.
Yeah.
So I found that simple saying, "Do everything that makes it better and nothing that makes it worse," will help people stop in a day-to-day situation and
Yeah.
say, "Oh, it's like when you're on a diet. No, you can't have an ice cream cone. You know, you can eat an apple maybe, but not." So if you're trying to get your back better, do not shovel rock,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So but it's a really good point to help people stop doing something that they wouldn't think about, because that's a habit.
Yeah.
Using poor body mechanics, I have to teach people that, but then it's a habit, like taking clothes out of the dryer incorrectly. So once I teach them how to do it, then they have to realize, I need to do it this way in order not to irritate my back. So do everything that makes it better and nothing that makes it worse, and that helps it heal. It's very simple.
Yes, it is. So that brings me to your book. You wrote the book, Simple Healing, and I'll get the title right here, 5 Steps to Heal the Body and Soul. So where did the inspiration come from for the book, and what is it really just 5 steps that we can do every day, or what is the book about?
So it's 5 sections, and each section has a different chapter about things that come up. And I wrote the book because I found that after treating patients for years, I just had so many thoughts that I could help people with, but I didn't have the time. Insurance stops you from coming in. You can only see people. I mean, I could talk to somebody for 6 hours every day and try and teach them as much, but I can't do it. It's not helpful with people. So I thought, I'm going to write it all down. But one of the things I found when I was doing the cranial sacral and the somato-emotional release treatments is people have that tendency to connect their body, their mind, their soul. And they come up with this amazing philosophy and amazing chains of events that they know that, for example, if they're living with extreme guilt, they might have worse back pain.
Yeah.
So we started dealing with their guilt and their back pain could go away. So everything is connected. And so if you don't have happy, positive life, you won't necessarily have a pain-free body, and vice versa. I don't ever start with one thing or another. We kind of go off of the individual as they come in. And like I said, what's your goal? What bothers you the most? What do you need? And as we chat and treat, then we can determine, hey, you know, you don't ever take a break. You know, I think for you to feel better, you need to rest. You know, maybe you need to do something nice for yourself. So I just, with other people's insights, when I do the cranial sacral, that type of thing, sometimes people go to a place I call an awakened dream state. It's like a meditative state, and that's when their truth comes out.
Yeah.
And with that, you just learn so much. So I use all that came out with my patients, and I started putting them together, and that's how I realized that if you have, if you're not, for example, you're not breathing well, you may not heal in a lot of ways. Or if you're hiding something from yourself, that might be keeping you from healing. So the connection just goes deeper and deeper as far as you can go with the individual. And just having that framing, I think, keeps me from limiting myself from thinking in a box. So I can go almost anywhere with my clients and, you know, help them heal and get back to doing everything that they love to do and not have limitations.
Fantastic. And is that, so you wrote the book, and now I know you're sort of finalizing a course that goes with the book.
Right. So I've started to develop an online course, and what it's going to do is going to take every chapter, and so far this is the course. So I was going to do 40 days of simple healing. So each chapter is going to be represented. So hopefully the days won't be that long. So it'll be easier for people to get it in and maybe have it scheduled like 3 times a week. It'll be 15 to 30 minutes and go a little bit deeper into every chapter, bring out new thought processes. And then I also have a journal where people can checklist what they did. So they can determine, for example, if they want to start meditating, that's their thought process that they want to start doing that month. They can set it in their journal, and then there's a daily checklist. Did I do it? And there's a daily checklist. How do I feel physically and emotionally? So after meditating for 2 weeks, has it shown an improvement in your attitude and in your physical being? So, or they can say, oh, I wanted to do it every day, but I only did it twice in 2 weeks. So obviously I may not have changed anything, because that's the other thing that I find a lot. People understand what they should do, what they want to do, but they think they do it more than they actually do. So they'll say, well, yeah, I've been doing that. Well, how often? And we say, well, in the last month, they might have done 3 times. They may have meditated 3 times. And although, yes, that's something that makes it better, was it enough for what they wanted to achieve? So it's a way of making sure they stay on track. Just like having something 3 days a week, it means you have to be responsible and, you know, come back on. Have you done that? So the whole program is to not only help people get better, to help people see what in their life is causing them. I mean, it could be depression. It could be, you know, back pain. It could be fatigue. Any of those things can get better, because all of this are just simple techniques that you can do every day. And you don't want to overwhelm yourself, but you want to stay on track. So by doing the course, I think it's going to really help people that really want to do it, but haven't been able to make themselves do it. I mean, you can buy a book. Are you going to read it? You know, and my book, you don't even have to read in order. You know, you can just go in and say, oh yeah, I want to learn today about, you know, how I can use my dreams, you know, to understand what's going on in my head. So you don't have to read it in order. I was trying to make everything as simple as possible for people to follow through. But I think the course is going to be good for that. It's going to be really good so people just get themselves set on a program and then do it.
Fantastic. So where can they find you? Where can they find your book? Where can they find your services? Where are you hiding out?
Well, my book's on Amazon.
Mhm.
And it is kind of, you do need the whole name of it, or of course, Dorothy McGuinness, but Simple Healing, 5 Steps to Heal the Body and Soul is the book. And then my website is simplehealingpt.com.
Fantastic.
So
We will put that in the comments too, so people can find you there. And is there also a link on your website to the book on Amazon?
yes, there's a link. I do have a wellness store, and the book is on the wellness store. There's also the books throughout it. I also offer workshops, like back workshops, and there is a page so far set up on the website for the course if you're interested. That I can just get your information so I can contact you when it's ready to go up, and that will be, as we go, that's going to have more and more information on exactly what the course is. But yeah, simplehealingpt.com is the way to find everything for me.
Fantastic. And just so everybody knows, Dorothy is local to Arizona, local to the Scottsdale area. So tell them your address so they know where you are at, so they can easily find you.
Right. I'm in North Scottsdale at Hayden and Shea. It's 10601 North Hayden Road, Suite I-108. So we're in there's a medical office building there with a lot of different offices. So, and if they want to go on my website, I also have, send me an email or a text. I can send them an email with the directions and all that.
Fantastic. Well, it was so exciting to hear about it. And as I said, I tried it. I highly encourage you to go visit her and get your stress released and have everything feel better, not worse. So thank you again, Dorothy. Anyone else you want to share with whoever has tuned in or whoever will tune in? And
no, if you have questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. And I do a free complimentary assessment for people that aren't sure if they need therapy or me, or they're not sure what the heck I do. So, I do give a free assessment, a half-hour assessment. So they're more than happy. And you can sign up with that online too.
fantastic. I just love talking with you and getting to know more about you and the program. And I'm sure whoever will listen in will do the same here. And I just going over and start feeling better.
Right.
Yes. Have a beautiful rest of the evening, everybody. And we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for tuning in. Okay. Live is stopped.
Thanks for having me.
Okay. Let's see. Okay. Video has stopped.
Do you want to stop recording it too?
Yeah, I will do that. Stop recording. Want to stop